We'll continue with exploring connecting to other data sources. The last session, we just took a look at how to connect to the CSV files, right? Comma separate value files, and also we have seen how to connect to SQL Server. What we will do is we will continue with the folder connector. Okay, in today's session, we'll continue with the folder connector. Using folder connector, how we can load multiple files in one go. Okay. And also, let's explore the pros and cons of using the folder connector. Okay, it's launch or it takes time. It takes time to launch. Let's give 2 minutes or 1 minute or so. It's a bit slow, the Power BI. I just give you the context till it launches the folder connector. Okay. Okay. For example, right. So in the case of ETL stands for extraction, transforming, and loading the data. Extract, transform, load. When it comes to business intelligence, there are two aspects to it. One is the ETL part, other one is the ETL part, and the other one is the reporting part. Even in the case of artificial intelligence, data science, so there are two parts, right? So one is the data transformation, ETL, and data analysis, and then building the models in the case of the data science. Okay, but when it comes to analytics, only two parts here, two tracks. One is the ETL and reporting. To build a report, obviously we need to have our data. Having a data is not sufficient. We need to keep the data, or we need to explore and check if the given data is in good shape. Okay, or does it require any treatment, or do we need to do the data cleaning, data pre-processing, everything? Okay, so that is what your T stands for transformation. Okay, E stands for extraction. Extract the data from source systems. You have OLTP source system, and then you have the staging and data warehouse. The OLTP is your, how many of you are familiar with this one? The OLTP staging and data warehouse. Okay, here this is, let's say you have e-commerce website. Let's say in the case of Amazon, customers are ordering the product. All the orders are captured in the OLTP database. Okay, OLTP database. OLTP stands for online transaction processing. Okay, all the users are, multiple users are simultaneously ordering the products in Amazon website. All the orders are getting stored in this database. What we need is, we wanted to take all these transactions or the orders raised by the customers into data warehouse. Why? Because in the case of data warehouse, it is an historical in nature. So we keep the data in a huge volume. Okay, for example, you want to keep the data for 5 years. Okay, and here usually in the case of OLTP, they don't keep too many years of data here. So probably right 1 year data, or last 8 years to 8 months to 12 months data only, it will be there. The reason is this database is very easy because it has to cater to millions of users in terms of delivering the data. For example, you want to buy a washing machine. So in that case, what you do, you are ordering the washing machine. If you want to see the price, it should display the price in a matter of seconds. And also when the customer want to check out, it should allow them to check out within the reasonable amount of time. If it takes 1 hour or 30 minutes or 15 minutes, customer will lose interest, and what they do is they will obviously switch over to your competitor's website. Okay, so hence the concurrency is very important. Concurrency and this this one concurrency is, even if multiple users access, it should be in a position to fetch the data in a much faster way, and at the same time the speed should be pretty fast. Okay, and it should allow multiple users to simultaneously raise the order, and at the same time this performance should be pretty faster. In this case, if you keep the limited amount of data in your source system, it will be possible. If you keep billions of records, what will happen? It will literally slow down. That is the reason why they keep only the less amount of data here. And what they do is, for analytics purpose, enterprises, what they did, they kept two different databases. One is for the transactional, other one is for historical purpose, analytical purpose. It is also called the OLAP, online analytical processing. They push all the day-to-day transactions, including the day-to-day transaction, will push it to the data warehouse. Okay, here you will, if you see this data warehouse, you will find historical data. Okay, 5 years data, or some case, in the case of banking, 10 to 15 years, huge data they store it. Okay, because they want to perform, if they want to perform like for like analysis, What do you mean by like for like analysis? We want to see what is this quarter's performance compared to the previous quarter's performance. How much revenue we achieved, how much margin we are able to generate it, and what is the net margin percentage. Okay, they want to compare this quarter performance with previous quarter performance. Sometimes they want to compare this year quarter's current quarter with the previous year's current quarter performance. Okay, so in that case, this data warehouse should have the historical data in it. Without historical data, how can you perform like for like analysis? How can you perform like for like analysis? So that is also the reason why they keep historical data here. So one is the reporting part, the other one is the reporting analytical purpose. This is meant for analytics. Okay, this is meant for transactional thing. Okay, but even though we use data warehouse, this data warehouse is dedicated for analytics purpose, we don't load the data directly from your transactional database to your data warehouse. Before loading the data will be loaded in your staging area. Like the operation system, the staging area will also contain less amount of data. Okay, so compared to there are cases compared to the transactional data warehouse, the staging database contains a less amount of data. Okay, here it's a temporary area, so all these day-to-day transaction related data, weekly data, everything will get pushed here, and then they will combine all these things. They merge the data, and then they perform some aggregation, reformatting. Everything is done here, and then the data is pre-processed. The pre-processed data only will be sent to your data warehouse. Got it? So data warehouses, at this moment, you just think, data warehouse for analytics, this is for internal purpose, internal users, internal stakeholders. Within a company, you have multiple departments, each department stakeholders, right? They will hit this data warehouse indirectly, and they can view whatever the reports they wanted. Okay, the reports are already generated. For example, your Power BI will access this data warehouse to pull the data, and then here whatever the data report that you design, right, that can be viewed by the stakeholders, users. Okay, the report users. Reporters could be like your VP sales. Let's say your sales department, vice president sales, and manager, right? So sales manager, starting from the vice president sales to till the grassroots level, like salesperson, they can access the reports and they can view it. So the Power BI is here, okay, and your I'm sorry, I did not share it. Thanks, Deepa. You just told me that. Sumita, yeah, sir. Sorry. Okay, so this is your OLTP database. Okay, this is OLTP. This is staging and data warehouse and analytics. So you from the OLTP, you will push the data to staging. Usually, right, the jobs. We don't do it manually. Everything is automated. So this is where the E comes into picture. And this E is comes into picture here. Between OLTP to staging, we simply extract the data, whatever the data that are required to build your report or analytical purpose, those kind of data, tables or the columns and the data, corresponding data will be pushed to your staging area, the day-to-day transaction related data. Here you combine everything and then push the data to your data warehouse. Here you do combine the data cleaning, data pre-processing, everything you do, data reshaping, formatting. For example, if the Power BI desktop assign the the wrong data type to a date column. So in the case of date column, if it assigns the text data type, we need to convert this as date data type because if you want to perform any kind of date related manipulation, the date called order date, for example, order date, ship date, this column supposed to be in date data type. So you do the reformatting, type conversion, everything, and finally you will push it to your data warehouse. Okay, you keep append the data into your data warehouse on a day-to-day basis, on weekly basis, monthly basis. There are some jobs you will be loading it on a weekly basis, likewise. Okay, so in this case, what happens, right? The staging area, from source to staging area, you will have the staging area will be part of your database. Okay, so you have a common database. This is meant for data warehouse. Within this data warehouse, they have two logical partition. One is staging, other one is data warehouse. They do all data cleaning. But there are some cases what they do is they push this data to the folder. Instead of pushing it to database, they will extract the data and put it in a folder. Whenever they launch any new product, whenever any new customers comes in, that information will be stored in a customer file or something like that. And the transaction, order transactions or invoice transaction, purchase transaction, everything will be stored in a folder. Okay, the data, simply the table data from your source system, they will keep it in a folder. There are cases, the simple examples. For example, your manager wants to see monthly sales performance. Monthly sales performance. Every month beginning, he wants to see the previous month's sales performance. Okay. For example, currently, let's say you are in Feb 1st. Every month, so let's Feb 1st, he wants to see the entire January month sales performance. In that case, what they do is so there are some cases on a daily basis, they store the data in, say, individual file. Okay, so let's say 1st January data got stored in a single file. 2nd January got stored in a separate file. 31 days, for 31 days, 31 files are there. Okay, we don't want to take each and every file. We don't want to do the performance. Instead, what we do is we'll combine all these 31 files into a single file. Okay, and then that file will be used to that will be used to generate a report. Okay, we will be using that. So in that case, what happens? You need to combine all these files into a single file. So 31 files are there in Power BI desktop. You need to load each and every file one after the other. That will take a lot of time, right? So we don't want to load it one after another. So that's when the folder connector comes into picture. The folder connector is very much handy. So you don't have to load the data one after other. Using folder connector, you can load multiple files in one go. Okay, you can load the multiple files in one go. For example, I just show you here. So the Power BI desktop got launched. I'm going to close this introduction screen. Next one, I just connect to the get data. So before that, I'll just show you my folder details. So this time, instead of loading the data, we are going to connect a folder itself. This is what your folder. NC daily sales. Okay, NC daily sales. In this folder, let's assume that this is what we discussed, right? So, for example, this is what your OLTP, the source system data gets stored to your folder instead of the staging. This is also kind of a staging area. Instead of pushing the data as it is from your source system to your staging database, or right, so they will push it to a folder. Okay. So in this folder, every month or every day's data will get pushed here. Okay. Let's assume that in this case, you wants to perform quarter-on-quarter analysis or month-on-month sales comparison. He wants to do that, or he wants to perform, yeah. So let's say he wants to consolidate all the data, whatever that is pushed to this folder. Look here, from OLTP to the staging folder. This is automated. The data will be extracted and pushed to this folder. Let's assume that this is how these files got pushed. So what I will do is I'll just select this folder. The folder name is NC Daily Sales. I just go here and click on the Get Data and select More. So you need to have a lot of patience. So let's wait for, yeah, we got this. Look here, the Get Data. We have the first option is all. On the right side of this, if you see the folder, okay, when you click on this, this is what your folder connector. Here you need to specify the folder name, which folder you want to connect it. So what will happen is the Power BI desktop, once you specify the folder name, it will go and pick up the files that are available under this main folder, and also what are the files that are available under the subfolder of this main folder automatically. Look here, in this subfolder, we have a file called apr.csv. Here we have March, May data is there. Okay. So what we will do is we will just connect to this folder. Let's see what happens. Look here, it automatically picked up all the required files from the, not only from the main folder, but also from the subfolder. Look here, this is your subfolder, isn't it? Look here, if you see here, NC Daily Sales, we have APR subfolder. In this APR subfolder, you will find the APR.csv. The main folder, March and May files are there. In the subfolder, APR CSV is there. Even though it is available in the subfolder, it was able to pick up the files that are available from the subfolder also. Okay, it's very good. So we don't have to load each and every file manually. It is one way, it is good. But when it comes to folder connector, you can see an additional button called Combine. So these three are common when you load any type of file, load, transform, data, cancel. This is very specific to the folder connector. Here, the first option is combine and transform the data. So what it says, when you select this one, before loading the data, right? So combine all these data into single file and then go to the Power Query editor. The other option is combine and load. Don't go to the Power Query editor. Instead, combine all the data and then load it. The other option is, no, don't do anything, simply load the data. The other option is transform the data. Okay, transform the data will be like Power Query editor. Okay, so you can go to Power Query editor and you do the data cleaning, everything before you load the data. Okay, that is all. So what I do is at present, I'm going to hit this load button. Apply changes. Takes for a while. Look here under this fields pane. It is trying to load this one. Okay, so just beneath the fields pane, you can see this file, this folder actually. Even in the case of folder connector, Power BI, consider that as a table only. Okay. Now let us see what columns are there here. I'm going to click on this icon, expand it, and then you see date access, date create, date modified, extension, folder path, and so on. And if you want to see this data, you can go to the data view as usual, like how we used to check for other files, but it is a little bit different when it comes to folder. Okay, so it simply shows in the case of data view, what are the files that are available under this parent main folder. That is what we can see it here. That is what we can see it here, not the actual data. Okay, if you want to view the actual data, what you need to do is you need to go to the Power Query Editor, hit this transform data. Select these two columns, content name, right click on it, remove other columns. Got it? So here what we do is, here you can see this icon, double down arrow, combine files. I'm going to hit this one to combine all these files into a single file. I'm going to hit this one. I just hit this one and it gives me the preview, data preview window. It shows the data preview window. So here you can see the sample data, not the entire data of these three files. You can see the three, the sample data here. And the importantly, this option, the skip files with errors is very much helpful in the case of real-time scenario, because see, we are loading huge volume of the data when it comes to real-time scenario. Let's assume that each month data, the March, April, and May month data, each file has, let's assume that 25 million records are there. And then to load these 25 million records, each file, right? It requires, let's assume that 4 hours time. Okay, 4 hours time. So you have, there are some jobs or tied with SLA, service level agreement. Okay, let's the March, April, and May month data. So March month, it has 25 million records. It requires 4 hours time to load it. The same thing. Okay, let's assume that all these three files, now each file takes 4 hours to load it. Okay, and then you need to combine these things, right? So what will happen is here 4 hours. So let's assume that first file is being loaded, and just 10 minutes before completing the load, the data load, if the job fails, what will happen? Just so it kept loading. Just 10 minutes prior to the 4 hours, if the job fails, what will happen? Again, you need to restart the job. Again, it will take another 4 hours, right? Why it got failed? Just because, few records in my data set have some kind of error in it. Because of the 4 or few records, 4 or 5 records have some error in it. Just because 4 or 5 records or 10 records have error in it, the entire job fails. What we do is, when you choose this option, when you select this option, in case of any error, the records, you can skip it, you load it. For example, let's assume that 100 records were having some issue here, okay? Some errors are there. So you simply skip these records, which causes problem, and still load the data. So what we do is, okay, 4 hours, within 4 hours, the data got loaded, but except these 100 records, because these 100 records having some issues, it got skipped. So what we do is, after the data gets loaded into a target, we will be fixing this, and we can fix it, because fixing this one will not take much time. And also reloading this 100 records after fixing the data into the system will not take much time, isn't it? Okay, so that is the point here, whole point here. So if you when you select the skip files with errors, it will simply skip the records that have error in it. Skip file with errors. I just choose it, and then let's see what happens. I'm going to hit OK. All these three files will get combined. In case of any error record, that one will get skipped. In the interest of meeting the SLA. What is SLA? SLA stands for Service Level Agreement. So they have already defined everything. The enterprise, if you right, the so-and-so job have to be completed in 4 hours. So-and-so job needs to be completed in 3 minutes, 3 hours or 5 hours. But certain job data loading should get completed in 3 minutes or 3 seconds. Near real time, and offline load. Okay, let's start, discuss about this one, the offline data. Okay, so it's not a near real time or real time data. So here these files have to be loaded within 4 hours sometime, right? Something like that. So and then I enable skip files with errors. I'm going to hit OK now. Look here, all the three files got combined together. All the files got combined together. Very good. Right, all the files. But in this case, the number of records are less. Maximum at least 10 to 15,000 records are there, all the three files put together. To want to see how many number of records are there after combining the three files, you just select transform ribbon, and then hit these count rows. Yeah, 3,361 records. In the real time, so for the demonstration purpose, I'm using less number of records. If I use huge volume of data, it takes 4 hours time reasonably, especially in the case of laptop. Okay, but right, so our training time itself 2.5 hours or 2 hours, right? We cannot wait 4 hours. So for the demonstration purpose, I use the less number of records. The point is this one. Okay, look here. Next to this counted rows, you will find the cross. Now we understood how many number of records got loaded. Hence, I'm going to undo this step. Okay, undo this step. How do you undo this step? Control Z is not, it will not work. Simply click on the cross mark here. I just explain it one more time about this because from the last session to current session, right? Too much of gap. Hence, I'm going to explain this part also once again. Applied steps. Look here in the Power Query editor. On the right side of this, you will find the applied steps just beneath the properties and all. Here you will find the sequence of steps carried out both by the Power Query editor as well as by me or us. Okay, so the source, when you click on the source here, you can see that daily sales. Okay, this data file comes from which folder? In this case, daily sales. So this step carried out by the Power Query editor. It records, from where the file got loaded. Just beneath the applied, it records each and every steps in sequence. Removed other columns. Look here, this is the one carried out by us. I removed all the columns except these two because I don't need all the columns. Okay. The next one is filtered hidden files. Okay, this step carried out automatically. And then the next one is invoke custom function. See, the custom function got generated automatically by the Power Query editor itself. I did not do anything. And then removed other columns. See, this step also carried out by the Power Query editor. We did not do anything. Removed errors. So, okay. And then look here. And the next one is expanded table column 1. So, and then this step also carried out automatically. All we did was just click on the combine icon. We just clicked on it. All these steps were, except this step, removed other columns. Rest of the steps were carried out automatically by the Power Query editor. On top, let's say if I go and remove this column, I don't need row.id to create my report. So having too many unnecessary columns as part of the data set will also slow down your performance, the reporting performance. Okay, so what we will do is we'll make sure that we are keeping the relevant columns. So row.id is nowhere helpful to create the report. It is not necessary. I'm going to keep the cursor over here, right click on it, remove it. So whatever I do here, right, that one will be captured here under the applied steps. removed columns. Look here. If I click on this, you can see this. This is row.id. Remove columns row.id. This is right. This column got removed. Okay, fine. Now what I do is I just go to the file menu and then close and apply. I'm going to select close and apply. In the sense, all these steps will be applied permanently to my data model. I removed one column row.id. That doesn't mean that column got removed from my operating system file. So in the operating system, we have the files, isn't it? Yeah, you know that 1 second, I'll just row.id will not get removed here. It is removed only in your Power BI desktop, not here. Look here, still this column will remain. This one will not get disturbed. This is what I discussed in my very first session. Okay, these are the fundamental things. You should be aware of it. Okay, now we can see that under the NC Daily Sales folder name, all the table columns are available. Instead of displaying the metadata, like what is the content, file name, extension of the file name, and when it got access, all the things, right? Now it shows all the columns that belongs to this table here. And then on the left side, you can see the report view. And then next one is your data view and the other one is model view. This is where you can see the NC daily sales table. And here you can see the data file. Got it? Okay. So now I just go to the report canvas. Here what I do is I'll just select the table. And then I'll put the table here. I just drop the category. Here I just put the sales here. Look here, so the sales by category, we can see it. This is the total sales, fine. If you could have noticed it here, look here, I'll just redo it one more time. When I drop the sales, what happens? It gives me only one value. So in this table, now, we call this a table. It is no longer a folder name, okay? Because once you load any type of file into Power BI, that will be considered a table, okay? So the NC daily sales table, in this table, all the records put together, what is the total sales? It gives me the total sales. Let's say this file has, in this case, 3 months data are there. All the 3 months put together, what is the total sales? Fine. And if you see the magic here, the moment when I drop the text column, in this case, it is a category column, along with this number value sales, it automatically gives me the sales breakdown by category. Earlier, it was showing only this number, 5,13,000. Now it shows the moment I drop the column category here, it gives me the split up. Out of this total sales, how much total sales we made in furniture for the last 3 months, the March, April, May. The same thing is applicable here. It gives me what is the secret behind this, how it is happening automatically. That is a different thing altogether. We'll discuss it later. At this moment, you understand that it gives the breakdown automatically the moment you drop. For example, if I drop a column here instead of, the country column instead of category column, it gives me the sales breakdown by country. Out of this total sales, how much in India we made for the last 3 months. It gives me automatically. We did not write any formula or we did not write any logic for this. It is all automatic. That is the beauty of Power BI. Okay, so now, as of now, okay, let us focus on the total value alone. Let's not, worry about, how it is happening, all the things. Okay, how it gives all the split up, everything. Let's not worry about that. Let us focus only on the total. Okay, now what I do is I just go to the folder here. I just copy this file. 1 second. It is very slow here. I think I pressed some key mistakenly. So now what I do is I just go to this folder and just check April month is there. And then 1 second. Here, this file, if you see the size of this file, 782 KB, whereas March file, if you see 5 KB only, and even the April 5 KB only is there. With this itself, we can understand March and the April file size are very small, whereas the May month file is a little bit bigger. Okay, what I do is I just remove this file. And then if I go to my Power BI desktop here, and if I hit the refresh here, the icon, we are seeing the refresh here. Remember this, okay? So this time when I hit this refresh, what will happen is it goes to that folder again, and it loads all the data. What are the steps we carried out? It will be still done. We don't have to redo the same task. Okay, again, you don't have to go to get data. You don't have to select the folder connector and all. Simply hit the refresh icon here. Here you can see instead of 5,13,000, we can see 17,650. These are total sales. This is for only these two files. March and April put together, what is the sales? We can see it here. Okay, for these 2 months, what is the total sales here? That is what it shows, right? It gives me the breakdown of these 3 categories sales for the 2 months only. Okay, so now my manager wants to see the March, April. Yeah, let's assume that we are in the June 1st week. 1st June we are in currently. He wants to see the March, April, May sales performance. What I do is, what happens is behind the scene, right? At the last day of every month, that month, right? For example, March.csv file is available here. This is available in some folder STU. What happens is the system automatically pushes to your daily sales folder. Let's say this one got copied automatically here. Not March, sorry, May month. Here the May month. This one gets pushed to your daily sales folder automatically here. March, April, May. Okay, March, April. These files get pushed automatically here. So now what happens? You are in June 1st. When you hit this refresh, and if you notice the total here, it goes to this folder again, and it goes and picks up all the files that are available currently, 3 months file. Look here, now the total got changed. The moment when a new file get pushed to that folder, and if you hit this refresh, obviously it takes into account of the newly pushed files data also as part of its total. And obviously the corresponding, the split up also getting changed now. So everything is automated, right? So that is what that's what the one of the expectations of developing any software, right? That's one of the expectations. Automate. Don't try to eliminate the manual job, manual task. So here I have to hit this refresh manually. But in the real world, if you have 200 reports and 200 different folders are there for different purpose, you cannot open each and every report, click on the refresh. Okay, in this case, it is fine every month. So every month beginning, you cannot open, even in that case, right? 200 files, you cannot open it and you cannot refresh it. We can schedule it. We have the Power BI cloud services available, app.powerbi.com. So there you can schedule the data refresh. If you go and say, hey, every month, first, refresh these files. If you select that, what will happen is automatically it refreshes whatever the files, report files that you schedule it with that data refresh, will get refreshed automatically. Fine. So far, so good. Okay, so what are the advantages of this one? With this, you are able to understand. So in this case, no matter whether you have 2 file or 3 file, even if you have multiple subfolders, the folder connector goes and picks up all the files automatically. You don't have to load each and every file one after the other. That is one of the advantages. If you have, let's assume that you have 200 files, because in the case of Walmart and large enterprises, they operate across locations. For example, in US, 2000 plus retail chains are there. You wanted to see all the stores sales performance. So 2,500 files are available in a single folder. You need to combine all those things into a single thing. It takes a lot of effort, right? If you load each and every file, it takes a lot of time. We don't want to do that. Just go with the folder connector. Okay, the next real-time scenario is like, let's we have assume that let's take a simple example. 10 retail stores are there. We want to see the monthly performance of all these 10 retail stores. Each retail store you have all the 10 retail stores you store it in a separate folder like this, and see daily sales or monthly sales, something like that. Monthly sales folder, right? North Carolina monthly sales, something like that. Okay, here you put all the 10 retail stores data here, and then use the folder connector to load the data automatically. And then if you schedule the refresh, okay, every month beginning, every week beginning, every day by 10 a.m. automatically refresh the data. When you configure it in your Power BI Cloud Service, these reports will get refreshed with the up-to-date data. Okay, the other scenario here is, okay, all the 10 retail store files, if I push it in a single folder, what will happen is each file has, the 25 million records are there on an average. Even though folder connector in Power BI Desktop automatically picks up all the files, but practically speaking, to load each and every file, behind the scene, it has to load each and every file one after the other, isn't it? So in that case, it's a time-consuming process. So in that case, what you do is, listen, 10 retail store, what you do is, you can create 10 different reports, just duplicate the reports, and then each report, for example, 10 retail store, you keep it in a separate folder, okay? And 10 different folders. Each report will point to separate files, separate folders. And then each report will, you use the folder connector. Each report, what will happen is it will load its the files, whatever that are available here. For example, in this one, 10 retail store put together, you have 100 files are there. Let's assume that way, okay, 100. But instead, what you do is you create 10 different folders. In folder 1, you keep 10 files, and folder 2, you keep 10 files, etc. And then folder 10, you keep 10 files. So 10 into 10, 100 files, and each file size is 25 million. You just assume that. In this case, 10 different report files, if you create it with the folder connector pointing to different folder, and if you schedule all these 10 reports in parallel, hey, every day 10 a.m. run all these 10 reports. Each report will go and pick up the data from its respective folders automatically because you schedule the data refresh. Everything will get loaded in a matter of, let's say, 1 hour. If it takes 1 hour time, within 1 hour, all the 100 files will get loaded simultaneously, or all the 10 folders data will get combined simultaneously. You just think that way. Okay. This is one of the real times, so practically speaking, okay, folder connector option is given in Power BI Desktop. You don't have to load each and every file manually. Even if the files are in subfolders of your main folder, it goes and picks up automatically all the files. Got it? It picks up the files automatically, and then it gives me the report will become updated with the latest data in it. Okay. So, but the one caveat here is, in case you have any duplicate records in your files, it is not taking into account of that. You need to, once the load gets succeeded, you need to check whether you have any duplicate records in it or not. Okay, this is the thing you need to do it. Okay, everything you cannot automate it. There are certain things, right? Yes, it requires some kind of manual intervention. Manually, certain things you have to do it. Okay, the whole objective is, one of the important objectives, if you see any software product, right? Automation. try to automate as much as possible, but not everything can be automated. Certain things, yes, still it involves, but we'll try to automate even the, the manual, every manual part. But sometimes, yes, you need to check because of the limitations. Because Power BI, when it combines all the files, a single file, it does not check any duplicate records. Even for that, you can write some logic. You can write some custom function. You can check it. Okay, fine. So next, look here. One other important thing, what you should understand here is, these are the steps that carried out, right? Majority of steps in this case carried out by the Power BI desktop. We did not, Power Query Editor, we did not do all the things except they removed other columns, right? And but the last one is removed columns. We removed, look here, if I select this one, you can see the corresponding M script. This is called M language. It automatically assigns the data type for each and every column. Fine. The next one is the removed column. This is the one. See here, what is this removed column? What kind of step is this? Okay, when you select this one, you can find here the row.id, remove columns. All we did was just right click on it, remove it. That's all, point and click. We removed it. But behind the scene, on our behalf, the Power Query Editor generates the M language. This is where M script, M language script got generated. Row.id got, So with this, we can understand what step, what we did. If you look here, removed other columns. If you see here, the other columns we removed, but if you see the source here, okay, except these two columns, rest of the columns we removed it. By going back and forth, right? Or by selecting the appropriate steps, you will get to know what you did it. For example, if I select this, here what I did, row.id column, I removed it. But if you noticed here, right, I removed one file here. Which one? The May month file. And then I reloaded, I pushed the file from other folder to here, STU. There is a folder, there was a folder called STU. In that folder, this file was there. I removed it and then I refreshed the data and it was showing only the 2 months data. Okay, because I removed this one, because in April also we have one file. Instead of 3 files, since I removed this, 2 files data got picked up and then it refreshed the report with that 2 months sales performance. The moment when I push this file, what happened? Right, so the moment when I push this file, the new file into this case, the May file, and also when I hit this refresh, even the May data also combined with other 2 months data automatically, and then the total value also got refreshed automatically, right? It shows the up-to-date value, including the 3 months sales. What is the total sales? It gives me. Okay, it not only takes into account of the new files data, and at the same time it applied whatever the transformations we carried out. For example, what transformation we carried out here? Look here, the row.id, I removed it, right? So even for the, when you hit the refresh after you push a new file, it applies all these steps to the new file also, May month file. Row.id column got removed. See, if you open here, I just pushed it. And if you see here, if you open it, you will find in this file row.id is there. Look here. The moment when I push this file here, right, it automatically applied all the steps that were available under the Power Query. All these steps got applied for the new file also. For example, June month file, when it comes, it apply all these steps automatically to the new file when you hit the refresh or when you schedule the refresh in the Power BI Cloud Service automatically. It applies all these steps automatically. So it will do all the things and then it will remove the column row.id file. And if you change any data type, everything, here order date is there. If you change to date data type, so even if any new file comes with text data type, it automatically all the steps in sequence, whatever the sequence you followed here. And then, for example, the next step is you are going to change the data type. That one also takes care. For example, June month data, if you push it here, it will remove the things and then it remove the row.id column. And if you change this to date data type, that one also will be captured as a new step. Even for the new file, automatically it change it to the date data type. If it is already in the data type, then it will not do anything. If it is in the text data type like this, it will convert them in the date data type. Okay, so the caveats are like it will not take care of the duplicate records, number one. Number two is all the files that you have it here should be in the same type. Supposing you want to combine multiple Excel file into single Excel file data, then all the files should be Excel. You cannot have a mix of CSV, Excel, or JSON files. It will not work. But practically, you cannot dedicate a single folder to keep only one file type. You will be having JSON file, XML file, and text file. Likewise, different files will be there. What you do is, as part of transform, you can filter it out. In Power Query, you can go and filter it, which all files that you need it, which all files you don't need it, you can filter it out. For example, here, if I select once again, I'll just show you here. You can select only the files that are required for your thing. Here I'm going to select this folder connector. Here I just select this one, NC daily sales, and I'm going to put it here, NC daily sales, and I'm going to hit OK here. Okay, and if I go transform data here, what it is, you can filter it. For example, let's assume that this is the Excel file. You can just unselect it and then you select only these two files. Okay, so if you have Excel file mixed with CSV files, it will not work. If you in order for the folder connector to work, make sure that you are keeping the relevant type of file. If it is a CSV file, CSV files. If it is Excel file, Excel file. Don't mix the different file types. As of today, Power Query Editor, have this limitation. You cannot mix different file types. Make sure that you are using single file type. That's all. Okay. These are the things you need to remember it when it comes to folder connector. So hope you understood how to use folder connector and the caveats, that what you need to remember it. Okay, so those things now you're able to understand. Next one is